Line at newamericanfunding.com, NMLS 6606.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
This is Alyssa, the Paint Girl. Car accidents happen. Get the most affordable, convenient, superior vehicle repair with concierge service. The Paint Girl provides pickup and delivery with no additional cost. Our body shops have over 30 years combined experience. The Paint Girl handles all makes, models, lease return repairs, and insurance claims. Your smart choice for vehicle repair, The Paint Girl. Call 954-691-7024. That's 954-691-7024.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Congratulations on your engagement, and welcome to Wedding Talk with your host, Steve-O. Wedding Talk is a show where we give you peace of mind through your chaotic excitement of the wedding, where we have professional vendors weekly to discuss their services, experiences, and to answer any questions you may have to help create your dream wedding. To be part of our show, call in at 888-565-1470. Now let's go to the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Wedding Talk. We have a great lineup and guests for you this evening. So, ladies, I'm going to talk specifically to the brides today. We know how special this day is, and put the mic over to you. How special this day is, and how you've been planning it and thinking about it since you're a little girl, right? And you only got one chance to do it right. So, with that being said, especially in our industry, we talk to you after your venue has been booked, and we discuss the detail, and we all know, and we're very conscious about being on a budget, and we get that. But the question is, how much are you willing to risk on saving a couple of dollars and not hiring a professional? Today's guest is Miss Chastity Kyle from My Wedding, My Style. She is a wedding event coordinator who I've had the privilege to work with her for many, many years. And I'm going to have her share some experiences. First, Chastity, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, Chastity, how long you been doing this now?
I've been doing this. It's going on my 8th year.
Okay.
It's been a while.
So you've had a lot of experiences in this.
Yes.
So what we want to sit there and share with the audience is, let's share some. So first of all, what's the biggest thing you bring to the table?
What we bring to the table is, first of all, the experience. We know what has gone wrong in the past. We've learned from other brides' mistakes. We've learned from our mistakes. We've grown. So we're able to bring in that experience. I say a lot of people look at a planner when they're hiring a planner and you talk to them. They'll say, I don't have that money in my budget, or I can't afford a planner. I'm going to DIY, or my friend's going to run my day. And what they're not seeing is we're an investment. You're taking all of this money. When you think about it, what you're spending in a wedding is close to what you're spending on the down payment of a house.
Right.
And when you get your house, you get insurance, right? So having a planner, it's an investment. You're getting insurance that your day is going to run well. Your day is going to go right.
You said something interesting, because we hear this quite often in our business, is how, you know, like, for instance, when I talk to a bride and I talk about DJ services, you know, and, well, a friend of mine does it and so on and so forth. And, you know, it's not the skill of the DJ, the skill of that's not what's in question here. What's in question is if that person, that friend who's going to run the day, right?
Yeah.
Now, on average, how many weddings do you think you go to in a lifetime? If you're not in the industry, I'm saying, you know, you may go to maybe one wedding a year, you know,
The most
possibly two.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, overnight, you've become this professional.
Of
And
course.
you're going to run the day.
It took 2 days.
And
That was
you're-
it.
And you're going to leave your biggest day in the hands of your friend.
There's no accountability.
And we hear that about DJs as well. Now, my biggest competition in the industry is club DJs. Okay? Now, a club DJ could outspin me every day. I'm not sitting here and saying I'm the best DJ and mixer in the world. But a club DJ is trained and skilled to keep 4 hours of nonstop beat music back to back. The flow of events and formalities that go into the wedding, they are not aware of that and how to run it. So now what Chastity does is, like she just said, she gives you the insurance that the day of your wedding, or even as you hire, because you have many packages, you can start all the way from a year out to the day of.
The day of.
So whenever you hire Chastity, from that point forward, you don't have to worry about anything. You know, we talk on this show a lot of how, you know, the challenge today, Chastity, and I'm sure you heard last week's episode of, we spoken about today's challenge on brides is they're so busy. Everyone's working, you know, they're
Family.
doing
Some people have family.
Right. So they're doing a lot of their planning on their smartphones in between their job.
Yeah.
And who wants to call 9, 10 vendors? You know, I got to call my photographer. I got to talk to my DJ. I got to talk to my... What Chastity does, and she takes that away. So how I always tell you is call New York Sounds, call Steve, and you talk to one person. Chastity's my person. Chastity's the person I always forward my brides
you're my
to,
person.
right? So, you know, you make that one phone call, and that relieves a lot of stress, right? So how much money is your time worth? Is your stress worth, you know, by hiring people like us in the industry? So I'm sure you have many, many stories.
Look, but what you just said about the DJ hiring a friend. I was at a wedding a while back.
I was just going to say, let's get
friend.
into some experiences. Okay.
They wound up hiring this friend, and the friend was a club DJ. So what do you think happened? We went up to him and we said, okay, you have to go ahead and you have to do the formalities. We need you to MC. The DJ looked at us like we had 3 heads.
Right.
He didn't know what the formalities were, how to run the schedule. So it's a different type of DJ, you're right. If they would have had a professional like you would have came in, you would have said, okay, this is what's going on, guys. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start this at this time. I'm going to call your names. You're going to run down the aisle because I've seen you. I've seen you in motion and how you work. It's the same thing when they hire us.
Right.
You're either going to stress and say, do I have to walk down the aisle? Do I have to get everyone ready? What am I going to do? When is my mother walking down? What's going on? What if it's time to throw my bouquet and we're in the middle of a song? How do I break it down? That's what we're there for. You don't have to worry about those things. And people don't realize that. They see us as an expense rather than looking at their whole budget and saying to yourself, I need that insurance. I need that security. I need to work this planner into my budget because it is an important factor as to how my wedding's going to go.
Right. And you know, as a bride, who wants to worry the day of their wedding? I mean, how do you enjoy that? I mean,
No one.
Look, I mean, I'm married 10 years now to a beautiful woman. I mean, my wedding day was absolutely amazing. But because I'm in the industry, I was always focused on, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. I mean, the average, who wants to do that? So our goal, as I said before, you know, we sit down way ahead of time and you give us a list of all the do's and the don'ts, your wish lists. You know, you paint your vision to us. And our goal is to be the artist and to make it happen.
Of course.
Right? So, by the way, if you're a vendor and you're listening, or a bride and you have any questions for us, you can call in at 888-565-1470. Again, it's 888-565-1470. We're here to answer any questions, or if you're a vendor and you have any kind of feedback or input, that'd be great for you to sit there and give us a call. So, Chastity, so how many events do you think you do in a monthly base?
On a monthly basis, I try not to do more than at least 6. As a planner, it's very different. I'm putting a lot. There's a lot invested I
Right.
have to do your research. I also do design. So I'm putting a lot of time. I'm going with them to pick out their dresses, to make sure that they have their meetings with their vendors. Because I'm putting that time in, I don't want to take on too much. I
Right.
do have a team, but I'm also very hands-on.
I was just gonna say, let's talk about it. I know you have a couple of ladies that work under you, and how many are we up to now?
We're up to 4.
So we're up to 4. So how many partners per se come out with you to an event?
You get 2 or 3, depending on the size.
Right.
If we do the Indian weddings, we're
Oh,
looking at 3
yeah.
to 500 guests. So we take our whole team
And
out.
anyone listening, if what she says by the Indian wedding, so in the Indian culture, the weddings are usually like 300 to 400 people. As a matter of fact, back in the day, especially when we've done them in New York, and I'm sure you remember, but they used to be days long.
They still about 3.
You know,
Here in Florida, they're
here
about
in
3.
Florida-
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I haven't really experienced the days long here, but I have experienced an Indian one we'd done last year where I got into the venue. I forgot what hotel it was. I think it was a Hilton. But we've gotten there, and there was no room for the DJ.
Wow.
And long story short, I had to connect my laptop to the speakers in the ceiling because they had no room for my equipment.
Wow.
But anyway, so I just wanted to emphasize the point of what you had said, the Indian wedding.
Maybe
so,
they were expecting you to come with your little table and your...
Yeah, and
Let's
it,
not
it
talk
was
about
funny when I
those.
walked in, and then they said, "Well, we have no room for you." And I said, "No, I don't think you understand. I'm the hired DJ."
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "We don't know what to tell you." And anyway, so what is you feel is the most? Give me the top 3 things you think brides are missing out on right now when they're planning their wedding.
I think what they're most missing out on is the enjoyment. If you talk to 90% of your brides, and especially the ones that are DIYing, they're going to tell you they're stressed. The first thing they're going to tell you when you tell them, how's the planning going? Can't wait till it's over.
Yeah.
That's a sign
Yeah,
that you're
I've,
stressed.
yeah, I've heard that many
There's
times.
no enjoyment in it.
Right.
They're also missing the style of it. I've seen where a lot of brides want, let's just say, the rustic look. And then they're going to these glam venues. It doesn't go together.
Right.
And they don't know that. They're not realizing that. You want to make sure that your venue falls into place with your style, what you're looking for. And the third thing that they're missing is that day of. That day of is
Now, how
crucial.
far in advance do you book, Chastity?
About a year. The
So
most
about
2
a year
years.
out. So, and you know, we share this all the time too, and I'm sure you've heard me on say it on other shows and stuff. But you know, what brides are calling me now. I'm the DJ, so I would think it would go venue, DJ, photographer, blah, 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 whatever. But you know, I'm maybe biased. But I'm getting brides calling me, and they get married in 2 months, and I'm just in awe that you know they're waiting for behind the 8 ball. So.
And do
know,
you find it that they're upset with you when you're booked?
Well, yes. Well, the thing
Yes.
is, there's no sense of urgency, and listen. The first thing I tell my brides, and my brides watching can tell you this, is have you shopped around? I'm confident in my product. I'm confident in my pricing. But have you shopped around? So I get it if you want to shop around. I understand that.
Of course.
But when I talk to you in February, and your wedding's in September, and I give you 2 weeks, and I don't hear from you, and March comes, and then all of a sudden May comes, and they call me, "Oh, your deposit's in the mail." And I say, "I'm so sorry. I already booked that date. I'm the bad guy. How can you do this? You know, this and we spoke. Guys, we are busy." Like she just said, she does 6 in a month because she's in detail. She does a lot more work goes into what she does than what I do. But I do 3 a weekend on average. So, you know, we book out. So all the bride-to-be's listening out there, you know, you might want to consider, I would say a good vendor
It's important.
books anywhere from 6 to 12 months out. That would be a safety net for me.
Of course.
And another big tip, and I'm sure you'd agree, is if you like what you see and the price is within your range, most good vendors will play with the numbers a little bit as long as they're reasonable. But if you like what you see and the numbers match, book. Just book.
Look,
you know,
Steve,
I mean...
we talk about it all the time and we laugh. It is true that you get what you pay for. And we've shared pictures with each other where we're like, really? You do. You get what you pay for. If you want that inexperienced person to come in, be mad at yourself later because you made that choice to hire that person, that DJ that was $250 and showed up with a radio for your wedding as their main equipment. That's just the reality of it. Do we play? Yes, you're absolutely right. We look at the situation, the circumstances, and sometimes we get personal, very personal with our brides, and we look at it and we make our changes. We do, within reason.
Right. And you got to emphasize that because me and you click so well doing business because I sell with my heart a lot. A bride feels comfortable enough with me to share their story and whether, you know, something's going on in their family or sometimes they have a kid and whatever and down about. And my heart goes out and I try to work with them. But like you said, to a reasonable, you know, it has to be a realistic number. And it's not being cocky. It's not being, you know, oh my God, he's tooting his own horn. No, but I know what I'm worth and I know what I bring to the table.
And you also look at, like we do, you look at that future of if something goes wrong, the money's there for you to fix what needs to be fixed. If you're strangled, I call it financially strangled, where you're just, it's the bare minimum, nobody understands, and this is all that they have. If something goes wrong, if that cable blows, if something happens, just like with us, if a vase breaks, the money's not there to pick up, which means now we're taking out of our pocket to make their wedding happen. And I don't think people realize that or see that, everything that happens in the background and what can go wrong.
Right.
And we have to make sure that we're secure for your day to go right.
Right. And, you know, going back to what we originally said with the friend that's going to help you with the day and everything else, you know, and I'm sure you can really talk about this, is I know a lot of the venues that I deal with, if you're not licensed and insured,
they're not touching.
you know, you're not allowed in.
No.
And brides that are listening, you know, if you're in this situation where you have a friend that's willing to help you out, and whether it be a DJ or a photographer, they must carry liability insurance in order to perform at a creditable venue. So share some experiences that you've had that brides have made that mistake.
I know from both ends. I've seen both sides. I've seen venues. I told you, I think a while back, and we laughed about it. It was sad when it happened. I was upset and beside myself. I was a day of. Day of, we start 30 days out. You know, that's I never do a day of. Don't expect me to just show up the day of your wedding and not know anyone, not know the venue, not know what's going on. I won't do it because that leaves a big room for error. And I don't want that. I don't want it on my reputation. But I also learned with day of, very picky on the vendors that you select. I prefer to be a day of when it's my vendors. Because I had a wedding. We knew the person personally. They hired all of their vendors. And there was one company that they had a string of vendors, like different vendors that they send out. And this company had been to weddings that I've done before, and their people were good at those weddings that I did. This day, they had sent someone to her, and the person literally showed up to her beach wedding with one of those alarm clock radios you put next to your bed.
Wow.
And I was like, what is that? And he said, that's my equipment. I didn't know the person. It was one of those DJs that they just send out a bunch of DJs randomly to different places. And it showed showed in the reception. Now, I remember I was sitting there and I was
What was the
doing
bride's
things.
reaction?
She was devastated. She was devastated. It was sad to me too, because of the fact that she used that company. And like I said, they've done DJing in the past at other events I have been at, and their DJs have been exceptional. So I was like, oh yeah, I've seen their DJs perform before. So I didn't even bother to ask, who's the DJ? Who is he? And once again, when I tell you her day of, which is an experience learned, I was her day of just that day, which I won't do now. And also my vendors, you have to work with my vendors. I won't do day of unless it's like Steve calls me and says, hey, one of my brides needs you for a day of. Sure. Because that day, as we're putting everything together, one of the friends came up to me and said, this was great. Dessert table, food, alcohol. We had such a great time, the decor, and just having a conversation. You guys have such a great personality. And then she goes to me, but your DJ sucked. How do I tell her? It's not my DJ. It's the bride's DJ. That already put a damper on my company. So because of my reputation.
Oh, because you're covering the 360.
Mm-hmm. You will not. And people don't know. They don't know I was just the day of. In their mind, I'm the planner. So I've learned. I won't go out. It's not my vendor. If I haven't seen the reviews of the vendor and I don't know what type of vendor it is, I will not be your day of. I just tell people I'm not your person. And that's okay for me. It's okay for me to say no to someone because it keeps my reputation.
To piggyback on what you're saying, and brides-to-be, it's very important. Now, you meet with someone, let's just say from me, for example. I will tell you, like when I'm personally not available, who your DJ is going to be. Mm-hmm. Each person on my team has reviews, has videos, has demos. And not only that, you get into contact with them immediately. The minute you book, they will call you. You'll be in constant contact with them. Most companies, you sit down with Paul and John shows up. And you don't know John from no one. So it happens a lot. So it's very important. But to switch gears a little bit, I want to know where the passion comes from, Chas. Like, what started you in this? How did you start with this?
I wanted to do design. Design was always a
design
big thing
for
for
weddings.
Me. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I wound up getting into the wedding design aspect of it. And of course, it was hard to break into because you have these big companies that they do the rentals, they do everything. Mm-hmm. So I had to start off somewhere. And I started off with the planning. And then going back to what you said about getting personal. You know how I am with people. Mm-hmm. I like to talk, start conversation. I'm in the street, and there'll be somebody next to me, and they look at me like I'm weird. They get away from me because I'll start talking to them out of nowhere.
But it's so important to have that personality.
It's the way it is. You're walking in New York, we're in a rush, but you're like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's going on? And you keep everything moving. So it was refreshing for me to get to meet new people and their families and the quirkiness. And everybody's different. Everyone's different, and everyone has their family drama. And sometimes I'm a psychologist, and sometimes I'm a marriage counselor, and sometimes I'm just a counselor in general between mom and their daughter.
Imagine.
So I enjoy it. I enjoy that. I enjoy that connection with the people. I enjoy the connection with my bride, and it's why I do it.
Well, it shows in your work, and like I said, I've been working with you for so long, so I can say that. But ladies, if you're looking for someone, Chastity's information will be on the comments below, along with her link, so you can hit her up. But so I've shared with them many times. I mean, now I'm a lot older than you, and I've been doing it a lot longer. We won't go into that, but anyway. But I was telling them how I've watched the wedding industry change, and the formalities and the stuff that's changed. What have you experienced? What changes have you seen throughout your years?
It's not your mother's wedding anymore. It's not mom's
that's
wedding
a good
anymore.
way to put it.
You don't have to be traditional. You don't have to do what they did back then. You could make it yours. I saw a show a while back, and it's not a plug-in. It's just he's an incredible person, and I always watched him. I watched the show of David Tutera's, and his driver was getting married, and they did the welcome, the reception, and then they did the ceremony. And I thought, that's amazing. It's not mom's wedding. It's not mom's wedding dress. It's not the way things were. Your wedding can actually be so customized to you. And that's the type of clients I like to deal with. If you're the type, and everyone has a planner for them, and I might not be the planner for you. I'm the type of person that I like that uniqueness. I like brides that want to make it theirs. If they're going for that cookie cutter wedding, I'm just not their person.
You use the same word I use. I mean, so like she just said, it's refreshing for us because back in the day, it exactly what it was. It was cookie cutting.
Yeah.
You know, like every single weekend, it was
Look
like
the same, and
you know, it was just you're in a different venue with different faces, but you were doing the same thing.
Same song, same
because
thing,
back in the
same-
day, everyone was, well, if they're doing it that way, we gotta do it that way, and I would say I started seeing a lot of changes once the 2000s hit. But now it's night and day. I'm still a big fan. I think parent dances are very important to me.
Yes, of course.
But everyone has their own relationship with their parents and stuff. I mean, I could never imagine not dancing with my mom on my wedding day. But
And people do cute things now.
yes,
They do the taking it back, and they bring it all the way to the new generation.
right.
When they do that slow song, and from that slow song they break out. So there are different things that you could do, but I'm with you on that. There are a couple of traditions that
That I
just mean
feel
a lot.
that's just, I mean, it's a personal preference. And like I said, everyone has different relationships and everything else.
Absolutely.
But it was kind of cool to share a story. So I did a wedding a couple months ago where the bride was pregnant, but no one knew, right? And not only did she not know, but no one knew, but she didn't know the sex of the baby, but they had it in an envelope. So, everyone's doing this reveal party now.
Yes.
So she says, would you mind reading it? And we're going to tell everyone and I said, you know what, I'm going to do one better for you. So what I did was I brought out flat screen TVs and I asked her to send me a picture of the sonogram. So the bride and groom stood up and the groom says, ladies and gentlemen, we have an announcement to make. And when he said it, I flipped on the sonogram. So then I took the mic and I said, ladies and gentlemen, now we know our bride is expecting, but in this very envelope, we're going to know what she's carrying. So I had my Broadway lights, which I control with a switch.
Of course.
So I ripped the envelope, and the bride and groom were nervous, and it was a girl. So instead of announcing it, I pushed pink, and the whole room lit up in pink. So it was a reveal. It was really, really cool. It's very different.
I have a good one that's coming up that's kind of the same thing, and I came up with this amazing reveal, and can't say it, can't put it out there because it's happening, but I'll let you know afterwards.
Share it, definitely share it. So where can they contact you, Chas?
They can contact me by visiting myweddingmystyle.com, or they can call me at 954-226-4809.
Okay. And once again, this is your boy Steve, New York Sounds. Thank you for tuning into Wedding Talk. We'll be here again next week with another guest, but you can reach me at 561-503-6570. And, of course, visit my website at nysoundsevents.com. Chastity, again, thank you so much for coming on. And, by the way, her husband, Scott, is the man with Johnny Quest.
Yes.
And he has a big show coming up this May 27th. At Meisner Park. So I'm sure you'll see me putting up videos and promos, and we'll shout it out in that way.
Of course.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in to Wedding Talk. I hope you found this useful and made it easier for you in your big day. Please tag, like, share this video, and most importantly, tune in next week. But for now, enjoy your honeymoon and talk to you next time.